Hey everyone, welcome back. Hope you're having a fantastic day so far. So some beneficiaries of Social Security are facing a cut in their benefits by up to $6,638. We'll be going over that. Plus, we have some more good news for the former president and Donald Trump as some new poll numbers come out, which suggests that he might actually run away with the upcoming presidential election. But before we go ahead and dive into the main content of today's video, if you wouldn't mind helping out real quickly by just giving this video a like, that just helps out with the good old YouTube algorithm, and also consider subscribing to my channel if you have not already. Plus, if you would like to receive up to $10,000 in free stocks or $10,000 in free cash, in a pinned comment below, I will be leaving a link to Moomoo. All you have to do is once you click on that link, is just open up a free account and then deposit at least $100. At that point, Moomoo will be sending you at least 5 free stocks worth, once again, all the way up to $10,000. And if you'd really just have the cash, all you have to do is once you receive those free stocks is just sell them for what they're worth and then transfer the cash value right back to your bank account. Okay, so diving right into our first story of today's video, and before we get into that potential huge payment cut for some Social Security beneficiaries, we're first going to be talking about a new poll that was just released by the New York Times. We actually have a few different polls and some different numbers that we're going to be looking at, and these numbers, all in all, at least in my opinion, clearly suggest that Donald Trump might just run away with the upcoming presidential election. So according to the New York Times, voters doubt Biden's leadership and favor Trump, Times/Siena poll find. So President Biden is struggling to overcome doubts about his leadership inside his own party and broad dissatisfaction over the nation's direction, leaving him trailing behind Donald J. Trump just as their general election contest is about to begin, a new poll by the New York Times and Siena College has found. With 8 months left until the November election, Mr. Biden's 43% support lags behind Mr. Trump's 48% in the National Survey of Registered Voters. So you can see up there on the screen, they asked there, if the 2024 presidential election were held today, who would you vote for if the candidates were Joe Biden and Donald Trump? And out of the voters, they suggest that Trump 48%, Biden 43%, and just 10% at this time do not know, or they refused to answer. The article goes on to say only 1 in 4 voters thinks the country is moving in the right direction. More than twice as many voters believe Mr. Biden's policies have personally hurt them as believe his policies have helped them. A majority of voters think the economy is in poor condition, and the share of voters who strongly disapprove of Mr. Biden's handling of his job has reached 47%, higher than in Times/Siena polls at any point in his presidency. The poll offers an array of warning signs for the president about weaknesses within the Democratic coalition, including among women, Black, and Latino voters. So far, it is Mr. Trump who has better unified his party, even amid an ongoing primary contest. Then, of course, we have another poll question here. What comes closer to how you feel about Joe Biden or Donald Trump being the nominee for president? And these two numbers really stand out the most, at least in my opinion, among those who are enthusiastic about another 4 years of Joe Biden. Only 23% of respondents said they were enthusiastic, whereas with Trump, that number is 25% higher at 48%. So a lot more people, a lot more voters are enthusiastic about a possible another run at president for Donald Trump as they are with another 4 years of Joe Biden. Now, the article also goes on to say this is another alarming number, that Mr. Trump's ability to consolidate the Republican base better than Mr. Biden has unified the base of his home party shows up starkly in the current thinking of 2020 voters. Mr. Trump is winning 97% of those who say they voted for him 4 years ago, and virtually none of his past supporters said they are casting a ballot for Mr. Biden. In contrast, Mr. Biden is winning only 83% of his 2020 voters, with 10% saying that they now back Mr. Trump. So we have 10% of the people who supported Biden back in 2020 now switching their vote over to Trump, whereas the people who voted for Trump in 2020, none of them are saying, wait, now I'm going to switch over to Biden because I've loved Biden so much over the past 4 years that now I would support Biden over Trump, whereas we actually have people who voted for Biden that thought that Biden was better than Trump back in 2020, now realizing that they made a mistake. 10% of them are now saying we want Trump once again back in office because we were better off from 2017 through 2020, whereas what we were from 2021 through 2024. But in some other news, of course, away from the presidential election, is that according to the Motley Fool, some beneficiaries of Social Security may see a payment cut of up to $6,638 if nothing is done. And they're asking who's ready for a cut in their benefits by up to $6,638. I don't think too many people are ready, but let's go ahead and dive into the article and why they say that we may see a cut in payments by up to $6,638. So according to the Motley Fool, since 1985, the trustees have cautioned that Social Security wouldn't generate enough long-term revenues to cover the cost of its outlays. Social Security's long-term unfunded obligation has grown over nearly 4 decades to a jaw-dropping $22.4 trillion as of the 2023 report. What's worrisome is what could happen to retired workers' benefits in the not-too-distant future. The 2023 Board of Trustees report estimates that the Old Age and Survivors Insurance Trust Fund's assets reserves are on pace to be exhausted by 2033. If the OASI completely burns through its excess cash built up since its inception, retired workers and survivor beneficiaries would be looking at sweeping benefit cuts of up to 23%. Based on the average retired worker check of $1,909 for January 2024, a 23% benefit cut would reduce annual take-home income by $5,267. But keep in mind that the figure is in 2024 dollars and doesn't account for the annual cost of living adjustments which factor in inflation. Over the past 20 years, Social Security's COLA has averaged 2.6%. If we apply a COLA of 2.6% to average retired worker benefits annually through 2033, a sweeping benefit cut of 23% would reduce retired worker take-home by $6,638 9 years from now. So obviously, that is a huge amount of money to be cut from your check. I mean, 25% cut from what you're receiving. So let's say in 2033, if you're receiving $2,000, you're going to be cut all the way down to $1,500. That's obviously going to be pretty significant. Now, lawmakers have put out different proposals to fix this issue. Some of them want to raise the amount of payroll tax that you're paying into the system. So right now, if you're an employee, out of each paycheck that you receive, you're paying 6.2% into the Social Security Trust Fund, and then your employer is also going to match that amount at 6.2%. Now, on the other hand, if you're like an independent contractor, in that case, you're actually going to be paying the entire 12.4% on that number. So some lawmakers have suggested that we increase that 12.4% number up to, let's say, like 14%. That way we have more revenue coming into the Social Security Trust Fund. We've also had other lawmakers suggest that we raise the income threshold. So, for example, this year in 2024, you're only paying the 6.2 to 12.4% in Social Security FICA taxes on the first $168,600 a year earning. So if you're earning, let's say, maybe $40,000 per year, on the entirety of your income, you're paying the 6.2 to 12.4% on the $40,000. Now, for someone who makes, let's say, like $10 million per year, whether they're like a celebrity, an athlete, someone like that makes a lot of money, someone who makes $10 million per year is only paying the 6.2 to 12.4% in FICA taxes on the first $168,600 that they earn. So anything above $168,600, they're not paying a single penny into the FICA Social Security Trust Fund. So some people are suggesting that we make sure that people who earn above $400,000, anything above $400,000, is also going to be taxed at that 6.2 to 12.4% rate. Then they would have more money coming to the trust fund. Those are mostly Democratic suggestions because Republicans are mostly against tax increases, whereas Republicans are more so suggesting that we raise the full retirement age, ensuring that fewer people are receiving Social Security benefits That way we can keep the trust fund solvent for a longer period of time. They're saying to raise it from 67 up to 70 for those currently like in their 30s and 40s. And for everyone that's currently at the retirement age or nearing it, it would not impact them. But those are some of the suggestions that are being thrown out there. They're also suggesting that people who receive the most money in benefits, so someone who's receiving like $4,000 per month, perhaps they should receive a lesser benefit down to maybe like $3,000, and then, or maybe even have everyone make the same amount. But let me know your thoughts in comments below. What do you believe they should do about the trust fund to keep it solvent for a longer period of time? Which of these suggestions do you like the most? Definitely would love to read your thoughts in comments below. But that's all we have for today's video. I certainly hope that you enjoyed and found value out of it. If you did, again, I would greatly appreciate it if you could give this video a like. Consider subscribing to my channel if you have not already, and I will see you in the next video.